Activity 68, photovoltaic cells.
Our question was, above what color do the solar cells produce the most rotations per minute? Our materials were a solar cell, an electric motor with a tape flag on the spindle, 2 wire leads with clips, one red and one black, and a stopwatch. White, black, orange, blue, yellow, and red
Are the colors we used.
Our procedure was to place a solar cell on different colored surfaces and count how many rotations per minute from the electric motor in the circuit for 3 trials and record in data table 1 for activity 68 photovoltaic cells. We did this 3 times for each different colored paper.
The energy transfer in this lab was from the sun to the solar cell to the wires and finally to the motor. The energy transformation was nuclear energy to thermal energy to electrical energy to kinetic energy and sound energy and thermal energy.
Albedo is the amount of light that's reflected off of something. Water has a very low albedo, which is why it takes a long time for it to heat up. That's why, once the pool is heated, it keeps in the heat for a long time.
We believe that the black paper will generate the most rotations per minute, but the color black absorbs the most heat. The colors we tested are white, black, orange, blue, yellow, and red. Factors that caused our data to be inconsistent were, in the first few tasks, the tape that was attaching the flag to the motor may have caused some friction with the motor spinning, so the numbers may be decreased for the first few trials.
Our data wasn't very consistent, so we can't identify any outliers. The range of our data was 41 rotations per minute, and the averages were 168 for the white paper, 180 for the black, 178 for the orange, 181 for the blue, 200 for the yellow, and 209 rotations per minute for the red. All of these were measured in rotations per minute. Another reason why the rate per minute wasn't affected all that much when we placed the solar cell on top of different colored sheets of paper is because the sheets of paper weren't actually large enough to change the amount of reflecting UV rays onto the solar cell. If we had had a poster board sized piece of paper, maybe the results would be different. The data does not support our hypothesis because we predicted that the black paper would increase the rate per minute. The data was very consistent, but from our data, the red paper had the most rate per minute at 209. The color with the least amount of rate per minute was white, only having 168. We learned that it does not matter what color you place under a solar cell, the rate per minute won't change too much. We got the results we did because the amount of sunlight wasn't affected all that much according to the sheet of paper that was under the solar cell. We believe this is because the sheet of paper wasn't large enough to actually affect the absorbed sunlight through its albedo. Even though black had the highest albedo, the solar cell had the least amount of rotations per minute. If this data had been more accurate, it would be helpful if you were constructing a building. If you use solar panels as one of the main energy sources, you could alter the color of the roof so that they would absorb more energy. We suggest having either red or copper roofs from our data. If we were to do this testing again, we would try to use much larger sheets of paper to see if that would reflect more energy to the solar cell. Also, we would use a bigger flag on the spindle of the motor to see if that was easier to count than a little flag going around in circles incredibly fast.